Welcome to this live premiere, and I wanted to do it this way so everybody can be able to chat in real time. And I'm not sure how long I'm gonna go, and what I'm gonna do is put my ideas in the description. So if you guys want to read through what I came up with for this idea for a crossover, I'm not sure what if it's gonna happen. I don't know if it's gonna be a video game, or maybe I would want it to be a game. I will also like it to be a TV special, something similar to what they did with the Jimmy Timmy Power Hour. Anybody remember that? And it's been so long since we had something like that. Jimmy Timmy Power Hour was way back from 2006. And then also on the gaming side of things, this could be a brand new Nicktoons Unite sort of direction in which the developers can really be able to create a game like this where Danny Phantom and Jenny can unite and be able to meet each other, and then on top of that they can expand and add additional characters for these two characters to be able to meet each other one world at a time. And I wanted to come up with something like Danny Phantom and Jenny Wakeman for a whole what if scenario for my series. And I'm not sure how it's going to be received, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. I had fun putting this together. I even went as far as going back to rewatch some of the episodes of My Life as a Teenage Robot, and being open and honest, I didn't even watch the My Life as a Teenage Robot Escape from the Cluster Prime movie, so I ended up watching that all the way through from that special. So that almost inspired this idea and gave me this idea with the whole Nicktoons Unite. We definitely need a remake for this game, and something that they can possibly do as a special to be aired maybe in the near future. I'm not sure if it's probably going to happen, but it can also, even if it's not a special, on the other side of things, it could be a video game. So I wanted to do this a different way, and I have it set on my PlayStation dashboard on display for a separate design, and for you guys to take a look and be able to talk in the live chat, and I'll also be able to interact with you guys in real time where you guys get a chance to see this. And I wanted to put together some kind of unique idea for these two iconic characters, and maybe if you guys like something like this to also just go above and beyond my series, maybe I'll probably try to probably come up with different crossover ideas and different storylines of how I think it could work, maybe as a game or maybe as a series. But I would definitely love to see this become a game, or maybe some kind of special, something unique like they did with Jimmy Timmy Power Hour, that they did 3 separate times. It was 3 different episodes or 3 specials that they did with Jimmy Timmy Power Hour. Maybe they can start doing this with some of these other characters that exist. They got a whole lot, just a whole giant list of characters of options, even in this modern day era, for some of these Nicktoons to be able to meet each other. And I wanted to put something together like this on the screen for you guys. Do you guys think this would be something that they could do for a game? Maybe you'll probably, some people out there will probably say it will probably be better as a special, but I think in the best of both worlds, it can also stand out as a great title for a Nicktoons Unite game for these two characters. It could be its own separate game, and I wanted to also be able to put together some other characters where it's not just about Danny Phantom and it's all about these two characters. I wanted to go into the worlds of both the universe and both the worlds of Danny Phantom, the Danny Phantom series with his friends, and also the different characters that Jenny Wakeman has met, and some of the connections, the villains, and so much more, to make it a little bit bigger, to make this a little bit more bigger and something beyond Danny Phantom and something beyond Jenny Wakeman, where they'll be able to interact and also get to know each other while also being able to help each other out, because these two shows just alone have a good amount of stacked villains that can really be able to come together and be able to unite, and also put together the perfect scheme and being able to take over the world and just be able to really try to stop Danny Phantom and really be able to destroy Jenny Wakeman once and for all. So I wanted to come up with some unique idea, this idea for today for this live premiere. I'm not sure how long it's gonna be. I just did it this way for something different. So I'm using my streaming program to be able to do it in a video sort of setting. So I hope you guys enjoy this. And just again, what I want to say before I just start talking about some of these characters and different things and things like that, what I want to do is I wanted to put some of the ideas of the storyline and some of the character roles of what they can do in a possible special and what their role will be and what I think of how this could really play out as a special and also as a video game all into one. So I'm going to have those listed in the description so y'all could be able to read through it if y'all want to. So this was something a little bit challenging for me to really try to put together. So I wanted to really try to make it make sense. So I didn't want to rush the video out, and I wanted to make this look as good as possible. Do you think this could be something that could belong as a title? We haven't had a Nicktoons Unite game since October of 2008, and I haven't even played none of those titles. I wanted to play some of those older games, and I was hoping we'd get a remake at some point, but maybe we're probably not going to get that this year. Maybe we're probably going to get it maybe sometime down the line. They did a Nickelodeon Car Racers 3 collection when they put all three of the games in the collection. Maybe they can, and they resold that. Had they not? Maybe they can do that for a whole collection for the Nicktoons Unite and sell it and put it on modern consoles and maybe revamp and reimagine the graphics. It could be the same games, but they can bring them back. But this is something that gave me just an idea, and just watching the Escape from Cluster Prime series or that special from My Life as a Teenage Robot gave me this idea, and seeing how some of these characters were able to traverse between the Cluster Prime, which is a completely different planet from the Earth. What if this happened to Danny Phantom, where he can find himself into Tremorton as the new kid on the block or the new guy, and he can run into some of Jenny's friends, and Jenny Wakeman won't even know he's there until she gets word from her friends. So I'm going to start talking about the storyline and then some other additional characters that I wanted to mention for this idea for this video today, and just characters and beloved iconic characters and villains from Danny Phantom's world, and along with his friends and his separate connections, and along with some of the characters that he met a little bit later on down the road that can get involved to try to help out between these two characters from these worlds, to really see these guys be able to meet each other, and also they will also be able to clash with some of these villains from each of their worlds. How cool would this be? This is a whole what if scenario. I'm not sure how you guys are going to like this, and I just wonder if they can really make this happen as a video game. If you can't make it into a TV series or a special, it can be an ideal video game for a brand new Nickelodeon crossover. This will be something a lot of fun. I think this will sell well. It will also appeal to the fan base, and they can also be able to expand, but I'm going to talk about more about that going towards the end. But let's start talking about the characters and the storyline that I want to start with in just a little bit. But what do you guys think? Maybe this could be a video game, or maybe it could be a special on TV, just something similar to what they did with the Jimmy Timmy Power Hour. So I just decided to try this just for something a little bit different for the channel. So this could be the perfect opportunity, and I've seen and noticed that some of the fans out there from the community for My Life as a Teenage Robot, people have been asking for a season 4. This could be some kind of special to really be able to tease the fans and also be able to bring something special back on the air and be able to have these two characters unite and be able to meet each other for some kind of special. Just other iconic characters outside of Timmy Turner and Jimmy Neutron, these two characters could be more ideal, along with the mix of others that can get involved in their worlds and be able to run into them. So maybe they could have Jenny Wakeman finally return to Cluster Prime. They can come out with something like this. But this could be what I just came up with for today. It could be some kind of crossover to have Danny Phantom be able to run into Jenny Wakeman and be a part of Tremorton and get lost and be this lost soul that's a stranger to Tremorton that could be on the loose. And you see how they can just write that as a cool little storyline of how he can get involved. And this is what I came up with as far as the story. So just to run y'all through it, the Fenton Portal starts having some malfunctions, picking up a strange energy signal from within. Danny Phantom calls Sam and Tucker as a heads up to investigate, stepping into unknown territory, and somehow finds himself lost into Tremorton as the new face in town. So this is just something that I came up with for a storyline of how this can go. It can be a part of a game or just part of a special. So just going on, just to continue, little does Danny know, Vlad Plasmius has found new allies in the Cluster Prime as Vexus has plans to send cluster forces to aid him and raid Amity Park, which is the setting, which is where the setting is for Danny Phantom. If you haven't seen the show, all the action and all the different ghosts and different villains that Danny Phantom has encountered, if it's not in the ghost zone, of course, they will somehow find their way into the human world on Earth and be able to attack and try to cause trouble in Amity Park, which is the main setting. So I came up with this because what in how the Cluster Prime really operates and how they traverse between their planet and getting to Earth or making their way to planet Earth, they usually use some sort of a space vortex to travel between their planet and Earth. So I thought this would be more ideal. So the Cluster Prime could be sending their army of clusters, or their army of the army of the Cluster Prime to represent them, can be this army of robots that can be able to traverse to the Earth, and they can be able to make their way to Amity Park, because Vlad Plasmius can open. They will open. He will have access to be able to help Vexus and the others be able to send their forces over to Amity Park to destroy Amity Park and take over. So just some more things that I added. And considering their rivalry with Earth, with Cluster Prime, just reference to the show for Teenage Robot, this could turn into a much bigger issue for both Danny Phantom and Ginny Wakeman, where they're gonna need each other to be able to put a stop to Vexus and company, and also Vlad Plasmius. But Danny Phantom is not gonna be in Amity Park, so he's gonna need some help. See what I'm saying? So they can do something like this, and then not just because of Vexus being, the queen and all, they can just be able to, or just the ruler of the Cluster Prime, Queen Vexus herself, she's gonna have Smytus, if I'm pronouncing it right, hopefully I'm not butchering his name. Smytus, who is the general and commander of the cluster, he will be leading the attack with the army of Cluster Prime to help Vlad Plasmius take over Amity Park. And with Danny Phantom nowhere to be found in his own world where he belongs in, Vlad Plasmius will be able to take complete control, and all complete havoc can just run loose, and they're just gonna be, his whole world is gonna be in trouble. So this would be really cool. So that's what I basically came up with as far as the storyline. So some other things that I want to talk about is that the My Life as Teenage Robot characters are basically the characters of Ginny Wakeman, characters from her show, and others can ally with Danny Phantom's friends. So Ginny can introduce Danny to Nora Wakeman and her friends Brad, Tuck, Sheldon, all them. I'm going to talk about them and what their roles are going to be. So it's not just about Ginny and Danny Phantom, what they're going to be doing. I wanted to talk about their friends from their worlds, from their separate connections and their relationships. See what I'm saying? So that way they have a role in this sort of crossover, and it's not just about them. So Danny Phantom is going to be able to meet Nora and her friends from her world as the new guy that's trapped in Tremorton. And then once Danny Phantom gets there, of course, he's going to also remember how I just mentioned how he already gave Sam and Tucker the heads up that he's going to jump into this portal, not knowing where it would lead, him. It causes some kind of a connectivity issue with his PDA, or basically, from what I dug up from the show to pay tribute to it, the Fenton phones, which they actually use to be able to communicate with Danny whenever he's in the ghost zone or wherever he is. They use these sort of kind of devices to be able to communicate with Danny Phantom to stay in touch. But it's going to be a malfunction, so he's going to lose complete contact with Tucker and Sam to really be able to give his location and be able to let them know where he is. So I thought with the whole storytelling, this will allow him to be able to connect with Nora Wakeman and her friends, and also be able to get some help to fix his Fenton phone or his PDA, to be able to get back in touch with his friends that are back in Amityville or Amity Park. So this will be cool for him to be able to get to know and be able to connect. Danny Phantom can meet Brad, and who's close to Ginny, and also his little brother Tuck, and Sheldon, who's the genius of the group, basically from her friends, and the smartest, Sheldon can be able to plan. And we're going to start, this is the character roles from her show. We start off with My Life as a Teenage Robot for her characters first, and then we're going to talk about the other ones too, villains and so much more. So Sheldon, since he's the smartest of the group from her friends, Sheldon's going to be able to plan, also create, and communicate with Tucker and Nora as the main sort of, the geniuses of the group. So they're the smartest characters for their, both their worlds. And they're going to help Danny Phantom fix his Fenton phone or his PDA to really be able to reconnect with Tucker and Sam. And then that way, Tucker and Sam can be able to know, to meet Jenny and all the other characters who has helped him fix his device, to be able to reconnect him and reestablish a connection with his friends. So that's how they can be able to meet each other, and then they can also start building a device and making some kind of a portal or some kind of dimension or some kind of device or machine that can allow Tucker and Sam to also potentially be able to travel to Tremorton and try to get Danny Phantom back to Amity Park. But that's going to take time because it's going to be so much going on in Jenny's world, because some of those forces that Vlad Plasmius is going to send over is also going to be raiding and attacking Tremorton, Tremorton, the city of Tremorton, the main city. So I'm going to talk about the group in a little bit of the villains that's also going to be backing up Vlad Plasmius and so much more, because they're also got this particular group that I wanted to implement with this crossover idea. They're going to be looking for Danny Phantom, and they're also going to be working for Vexus to really help destroy Jenny, and while also being hunting down Danny Phantom to destroy him and capture him once and for all. So some other characters that I wanted to throw in is Melody. So Melody from Teenage Robot, I gave her some kind of a hidden agenda so she can have her own exclusive, her own hidden agenda, her own secret plans and things like that. So Melody was created by Dr. Locust, who is the rival. Dr. Locust is the rival doctor or the rival scientist or evil scientist of Nora Wakeman. So Dr. Locust created Melody, so I thought Melody could pretend to be helpful to Jenny and company, only for her to later turn against Jenny under Dr. Locust's evil plans. So Dr. Locust is Nora Wakeman's rival, so I thought it'll be cool to include him in this crossover. So some other things that I wanted to be able to mention is with Danny Phantom's friends. So I wanted to add those in there too. So it's not just about Jenny's friends getting involved. I wanted to give Danny Phantom's his characters and some of his characters from his world some roles to be able to play as well. So in the midst, with Tucker and Sam being in touch with her friends Sheldon and all them, and trying to bring Danny Phantom back to Amity Park, and just with everything that's going on, I wanted to include Danny Phantom's cousin. Anybody remember Danny Phantom, who was created, or that clone was created by Vlad Plasmius? She eventually went off by herself, and she went on to go after ghosts and be her own hero, her own solo character. So I thought they're gonna need Danny Phantom, and Jenny's gonna need a little bit more backup of someone else that has some powers of her own that can really be able to be a force to be reckoned with. Danny Phantom is just as good as Danny himself, or Danny Fenton, I'll say. And since she's her cousin, or his cousin, she can have her own abilities and be able to later show up to back him up. So I thought Danny Phantom's cousin, or Danny, can also play a role in helping him as she ventured off by herself. So I thought this would be something for her to be a key factor as backup to be able to help him. So I thought that'll be something cool, just for not just Danny Phantom and Jenny fighting crime and trying to help each other out and things like that. She can be able to find her way and be able to pick up on the energy. You see what I'm saying? Because how Danny can just be able to pick up on the signals of when danger's near with the ghosts and stuff like that. She's going to be able to feel that strong energy, and she's going to have this strong feeling that Danny Phantom's in trouble. So she can be able to show up and help Jenny and Danny Phantom and all those characters with Tucker and Sam and all her friends and things like that to be able to get involved to help them out, because they're going to need some help battling the Cluster Prime. And then I'm going to get into the other group in a little bit. But let's start talking about the antagonists of the story for this little storyline that's going to be able to get involved. So I'll also add Vega, who is Vexus's daughter, but she's not really she's not really an antagonist, but she's, she's part of Queen Vexus's family, and that's her daughter, but I wanted to give her a role. Vega can get involved into this potential crossover if they do it. I just wanted to mix in other characters to have their own little special role. So since Vega only had one appearance, I wanted to do something more with this character to bring her involved into the story to give her a little bit more of a spotlight. Vega could return for some kind of crossover like this and be able to help out, because she ended up finding out the truth of Vexus's intentions and really just trying to go after Jenny for no reason, for things that she already was guilty of. So Vega can definitely be that secret backup alongside of Danny, which is Danny Phantom's cousin. So she can be able to help out as well. And Vega also has her powers as well with that golden chip. So she's going to really be a good backup to really be able to help Danny Phantom and Jenny. So I wanted to give her a role. So the next character is Misty, the Phantom Ninja Alien. So who used to be the protector of Tremorton, but she's money hungry. She's hungry. If you don't know who this character is, so I just wanted to give a little backstory. Misty is one of the characters from My Life as a Teenage Robot, and she only does whatever deed, or basically she's the type of character who will want to be paid for her services, and she won't do anything for free. So I thought she would be some kind of a character that can ally with Vlad Plasmius, because Vlad Plasmius is rich in the show from Danny Phantom. So Vlad Plasmius can be able to basically pay her off, and she'll be able to be of her service. She'll have her services aligned with Vlad Plasmius, because if you haven't seen Danny Phantom, Vlad Plasmius is rich and he has a mansion and things like that. He'll be able to recruit Misty and be able to join their alliance and their cause to take over their the worlds of Tremorton and Amity Park and so much more, whatever they can accomplish. Because she actually refused to save Tremorton because she wasn't being paid, and the citizens of Tremorton refused to pay her to really be able to pay her in order to help them save their city. So she really basically watched Tremorton be destroyed and crumble, but it was saved only because of Jenny Wakeman, or SJ9. So she was the one that had to step up. So Misty was the character that just didn't want to help unless she would be paid for it. So Vlad Plasmius can basically bribe Misty to be able to get her to join them. So I thought that would make the most sense. Some other characters that I'm gonna do just to try to close this out a little bit, so I didn't want to make this too long. Some other antagonists, Armageddon could also return, and he is one of the most dangerous characters that nearly basically killed Jenny Wakeman, and he has the power and the potential to basically kill Jenny Wakeman, and he's going to be a problem with Danny Phantom, so he's going to have some issues too. So Armageddon, if you don't know him, was originally created by Nora Wakeman to be able to protect. He was the protector of Earth. He was the protector of Tremorton, but he went rogue. And Armageddon is the biggest threat, and her biggest threat, and actually her own sibling, who turned into an antagonist and went completely rogue. He was built to destroy weapons, so maybe he can make this whole kind of mistake, and maybe mistook. He can also make the mistake of thinking that Danny Phantom is a weapon because he's a ghost. So with his own powers, he's going to see Danny Phantom as a target. So Armageddon, I think, will be a great character to really be able to get involved into this and really cause some ruckus. So they definitely going to need some help. And Danny Phantom is going to have some problems too. So with Armageddon targeting Jenny and making his return for this awesome crossover, which I would love to see, he can target Danny and try to destroy him because he will be viewed as a weapon. So another character that I wanted to throw in here from My Life as a Teenage Robot, and then we'll start talking about the group that I added to get involved from Danny Phantom's world. Kilgore from Teenage Robot. Kilgore was the character who actually rebuilt Omega Joy. So I thought this could work and be more intense with some of the forces that they have to deal with. So Kilgore had this goal of destroying Jenny or XJ9, and if he did succeed, he was going to become the new leader of the cluster. So this could be something that they can bring back into a title or some kind of a crossover special that they can bring all these characters in for this amazing special to really get involved, to really cause problems for Danny Phantom and Jenny. So those are just the villains that I added, and I already talked about Smytus, who is the General Cluster from earlier in the video. So now I want to talk about I want to talk about Danny Phantom's forces that he's going to be dealing with. So Vlad Plasmius reinforcements, I wanted to include the guys in white. And if you don't know about this faction is from Danny Phantom. This is the faction of ghost hunters. So this organization's goal was to eliminate all ghosts on Earth. So I thought they could be tasked with capturing Danny Phantom again with Vlad Plasmius orders, and they can also be able to match up something similar to what he did in the $1 Million Ghost episode that I wanted to reference. So I wanted to really just do the research, putting this group in so it can make the most sense. So that way it's not just the same, it's something that's just thrown together. The guys in white, they were hunting Danny Phantom down, and Vlad Plasmius actually put a bounty on Danny Phantom to be captured. So they can have their Ecto Annihilators out ready to go. So I thought this would be something that a lot of people would probably want to end up seeing. So the guys in white can really get involved to really be able to to help the cluster prime out, and also they're gonna be able to show up on Tremorton hunting and looking for Danny Phantom in that portal, and eventually be able to find his location, because they can really be able to track him down with those trackers that they carry from the show. The guys in white are not the ones to play with, because they're going to be able to find Danny Phantom and track him down, but they're also going to be an ally with the Cluster Prime. So I thought this would be an ideal crossover that can really make it some kind of big trouble for these two heroes, where they're going to need all the help that they can get. They're going to have Vega. They're going to have Danny Phantom's cousin, Danny, who's her own hero and her own, just doing her own thing. She can get involved, and Vega's going to have backup, and they're going to be working together to really be able to bring this out. So those are just some of the ideas that I brought together for some kind of a crossover with the storyline, and I wanted to just put as many characters as possible that can get involved. I was gonna think about trying to add in the Crust cousins, or the Crust twins. I think they're the Crust cousins from Teenage Robot, because the bullies from her school that can be brainwashed to be able to ally with the Cluster Prime, which they have before in the show. The Crust cousins can get involved. There's a lot of characters that can get involved in this sort of special crossover that really would be fun to watch, and also something to play for a game. So I wanted to come up with something like this for some kind of idea, for some kind of possibility. Is this something that they could possibly do? I didn't even mention the Danny Phantom villains that he has to deal with, because everybody's going to be wrecking havoc in Amity Park with it. Maybe Johnny 13 and Shadow could just return. Ember can be going crazy. The whole Amity Park could be in trouble with all those ghosts letting loose, and with that portal, Vlad Plasmius is going to be able to have complete control and do whatever he wants, and be able to take over Amity Park and be able to take everybody, and he can have his reinforcements, the guys in white, to be able to hunt down Danny Phantom, and with Queen Vexus also pulling the strings in the Cluster Prime with Smytus and all those other characters in Tremorton, it's going to be a lot of trouble. And I think this will be a lot of fun to watch, and something that can be ideal that they can work on and really be able to put together. If it's not a special, it can be a video game. It's something that they can do, since we haven't had a Nicktoons Unite game in so long. We haven't even seen some of these characters really come out with their own solo games. They don't really have much of a Danny Phantom game that's modern and recent as of late, and they don't have a My Life as a Teenage Robot game. They can come out with an actual real title with something like this that can work. So it could be something that could be epic for Nicktoons Unite. And just talking about the future plans that they can possibly end up doing, it doesn't have to stop with just Danny Phantom and Jenny Wakeman, they can have other worlds get involved. And just with the whole DLC updates, if it turns into a video game, they can update it where Danny Phantom and Jenny can really be able to go towards the world of Retroville and maybe even the world of TMNT and some of these other worlds that I would like to see get involved. They didn't even bother including Aang from the Avatar from the Last Airbender, as much as big as the show is, and they've included those certain characters in a lot of games, and they've been picking characters from those shows quite often and really frequently. Why haven't why haven't we seen some of those characters appear in these kind of crossovers for a Nicktoons Unite game, or some kind of crossover where some of these characters can be able to meet? This is something that they can really be able to grow. They can start with for a little bit of a title, and they can expand on it, getting other worlds involved. So Nicktoons Unite can start with just 2 worlds, and more worlds can be able to get involved in this particular crossover that I would love to see. So I have fun putting this together, but it's just so many different characters that they can do. This can really be able to go on. It can be a mini series. See what they got with Netflix with the mini series with some of these TV shows and things like that. It can be a mini series, a couple episodes. It could be something like that. So it's just an idea that is something that they can do with these characters and do something more with them, instead of just leaving them out and not doing anything with the titles. And when they have the rights and the licenses to these characters, they could be doing stuff more, doing even more with these characters outside of just having them just sit there. So this is just something that I wanted to put together for today. So let me know what you guys think with this. Maybe you'll probably want it as a special, a TV special. Maybe you'll probably want it as a video game, as a new Nicktoons Unite, or a brand new crossover game. It could be something completely different. So it's just so many things that they can do. It's not just about SpongeBob and TMNT and Avatar. They can put some of these characters together to be able to clash, and also be able to have their worlds collide where they'll have no choice but to help each other. And I feel like Danny Phantom and Jenny Wakeman would definitely get along with each other well, and just their characters, the friends that they met along the way, will definitely be able to vibe. This will be something that really, I think the fans out there would love to see, and something that needs to definitely happen. And if it's something that you would change from my crossover ideas with a storyline, you can post your ideas in the comments, and if you want to, or just make some different changes. Maybe you'll probably want it as a special. It could be something like the Jimmy Timmy Power Hour, but we haven't had that in so long. It's been since, I just had to scroll up. Jimmy Timmy Power, just what I was saying earlier, it was from 2006, from way back in 2006. That's when it was. And then Nicktoons Unite was 2008. They're 2 years apart from each other. So that could be something that they can possibly do with this crossover. But let me know what you guys think. I definitely had a lot of fun putting this together. I wanted to make it make sense. I wanted to give other characters involved, some kind of other characters that can get involved from both of their worlds together, and have them play a role to be able to cause some ruckus, or whether they're going to be there to really be able to ally and help them and come to the rescue, because they're definitely going to need each other to really be able to bring peace back to Amity Park and try to get Danny Phantom back to where he belongs. So he's not stuck in Tremorton forever, because Amity Park is just going to be in trouble and in shambles. So they definitely are going to have to help each other. This will be something that I would really love to see.